is day 252 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you like a sponsor upcoming share more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. It would be very much appreciated. Today we're doing Kuf Ayin Dalid to Kuf Ayin Dalid Yud Gimel. So we're in the middle of Birchas Yain Tocha Suda. Zayin. Okay. We Moshe say Yain Karm Suda. If you didn't drink wine before the meal, Mevarim with Tocha Suda. Oh no, sorry, that's Ches. Zayin. V'chein Yain Shel Kiddush. You have the Pota Yain Shel Tocha Suda. So to wine, Kiddush wine Abdullah exempts wine which is within the Suda. Mishabura says, in our countries, we're not accustomed to drink wine in the Suda. Even on Shabbos, it doesn't exempt unless you had das to do so from the beginning of the meal. And he wrote something similar in terms of wine of Abdullah. But I think nowadays, perhaps it's a little bit, the pendulum has swung a bit. And during Shabbos meals, a lot of people do have wine as part of the Suda. Not on Shabbos. It probably is much more rare. Anyway, it goes on to say that it's not just a Kiddush which is relevant to the Suda. Obviously, Kiddush and Suda are connected on Shabbos. And feel Abdullah, they don't shaykhus the Suda. Abdullah, which is not connected at all to a meal. Nevertheless, if the time Abdullah had in mind to eat immediately, and to drink wine than Suda, Yain Shabdal Pocho, the wine of Abdullah exempts it. It's no worse than wine, which is before a Suda on a weekday, where there's no intrinsic connection between the wine and the Suda. Shapoter, it exempts the wine in the Suda. My Grus Abdullah, why should Abdullah be any worse? Nevertheless, Yesh Omi Abdullah agree. Some say Abdullah is worse. Why? The Bishlam Bechol on a weekday should show some minutes if Suda, where we're drinking voluntarily before the Suda. Mikriyan Shibnei Suda. It's called wine before the Suda. Abdullah Shemuchal Lishtos Hashem Mitzvah. Abdullah and have to drink for the purpose of the mitzvah. And there's a shaykhus of Suda Kla. It's not connected to the Suda at all. Below that, make Kiddush is not comparable to Kiddush. Ain't a Makam Suda, which is only in a Makam Suda and therefore linked to the Suda. Sweetly, they are Zuchlan is being Yain Shabdullah and Poteres. The wine of Abdullah does not exempt wine in a juxtaposed Suda. And again, nothing other than Blachila Kodam Abdullah, unless you wash your hands for eating before Abdullah, which is an interesting scenario because, like, the Yekas wash before Kiddush, so too he's washing before Abdullah. And it's not a hefsek, this time Lamoti, because he doesn't mind to eat. The lav dafka shenatol yadam, and it doesn't mean even that you specifically have to wash your hands. If you learn didn't do until time, elakava atzmo suda, but you made a formal meal. In other words, you lay the table, put on the food, etc., prepare yourself to eat a meal. That works. Therefore, somebody who makes Abdullah before washing and before the formality of the meal, meaning before he sets the table, you should have mind to be yotze, not to be motzi the wine within the Suda. But if you didn't have that kavanah not to be mostly wine in the Suda, you should not make a bracha on the wine within the Suda. The suffix brachas l'hakam, since it's a suffix brachas l'hakam, because maybe the Abdullah does work with the wine during the Suda. Mishabura says that the Elio Rabbo argues, and so it's only if you did specifically wash it the Sidai. Obviously, in this case, Arukh HaShulchan would be L'Kula and Sadi Rabban L'Kula, and therefore you would go follow Arukh HaShulchan. Ches, Bimlo Shasa Yain Korem, so if you didn't would drink wine before the meal, Mevar with Suda, you would make a bracha during the meal. Al Kosa Rishon Sheshois, on the first cup you drink. Pasmach bracha Suda, on the basis of this bracha, Yochol, Lishos Kol Suda, you can drink the entire meal below bracha without any bracha, Como Birchas HaPas, just like the bracha on bread, the Poteres Kol Suda, which exempts the entire meal. It's not comparable to the first time Pesach. We make a bracha on each and every cup. There, the drinking is not within the meal. It's before and after the meal. But this is only when you had a mind to drink more than the first cup. You have a diet to shlosh those out, but if you have mind, you may drink the first cup, not Pesach night, the rest of the year. Then you change your mind to decide to drink. Also, bracha acheres, you do need another bracha because you're changing your mind. So it's not the first bracha not exempt this. V'chein lo it's so to add infinitum. Chol dvarim adin kein. This is true by anything. Hein bepeiros, hein belechem, whether with fruit or with bread. Such as if you bought a roll of bread to eat it. And you ate it. And then you decide, okay, let's buy another loaf and eat another loaf. You have to make a mosi on the second loaf. Only the bread of a balbus in his house, this is not relevant. There's no limit in the bread on the bread. The intent is everything is going to eat. But wine which is for the purpose of pleasure, so there's even a balbus in his own home who doesn't want to drink rakos echad, only one cup. And then he changes his mind. Old kos, and then he drinks another cup. So the bracha b'fnei the second cup needs its own bracha. But generically, if you didn't have any specific thought in mind, im lishtos od, im lo lishtos, whether to drink or not, depends on the situation. If this person is accustomed to drink several cups during the meal, he doesn't have to make a bracha again, even with no specific thoughts whether that he was going to drink. A Rav is not accustomed to drink several drinks within the Suda, then he does have to make another bracha. The Mishnah Berurah Sharatzion says, Bistama Vada Ein Tzorech L'Achzari. Again, the default is that that's actually a Chiddush in Mishnah Berurah. That the default assumption is that he would have in mind to drink wine. But Arukh HaShulchan it's mashma a little bit not like that. It's mashma that, on the contrary, a default assumption because he's not going to drink more wine if it's not on Shabbos. Arukh HaShulchan does distinguish between Shabbos and week. That's the distinction which I discussed before in Mishnah Berurah. Test. Because I made Ramah B'Sif Hey, Chemish Bala Suda. Some of you came to a meal, Umoshitim Lo Harbe Kosas, and they extended many cups. He makes bracha Yishimon, Davi Kanimach, as if he changes his mind each time. Ad Kan Lashona. Klomar, meaning B'Tchilo Shidlo Ruven. First Ruven gave him a cup of beer, and he made a bracha and drank it. Chayil Shadlil Shimon, and then Shimon gave him a cup. So the baruch has to make another bracha. And this though a basa chas, but if you gave them in all one fell swoop, call them shabirech al rishon before you made the bracha in the first cup. Pshita, it's obvious shabracha chas. One bracha works for all of them. Chemio there, if you know, also we know she know kosos, they're going to give him more cups. Mevarech al rishon, you make a bracha the first one. Upotas kum, you exempt all the other ones. But kolech al svara shabiano kamuban, and everything goes with the svara, which we said about the continuity of the wine, depending on stam das, or depending on what he has in mind or doesn't have in mind, etc. The Mishnah Berurah says that this is interesting, that this halacha refers to somebody who's not invited. He's just there, he just crashed the wedding. Because if he's invited, then we assume all the wine at the wedding is part of the same series and only requires one bracha. But if he came in uninvited, and anything he gets is a chiddush, everybody have to make a bracha on each and every one. That's cute. Yud, Od Kosav. The Rama also writes, V'chein Misha Berach Al Kos Birchas Nisuin, he made a bracha on the cup which is for the wedding. Brachas, the chuppah. V'edei Lechen Yagi HaKos, and you don't know, presumably they're sharing the kosher bracha afterwards, don't know how far the cup is going to get. Kol Echad Tzorich Levarech, everyone who gets the cup has to make a bracha. The Mikra Nimach is called a new decision. Ad Kan Lashona. V'chein Kosav Rabbeinu Beis Yosef B'Sib Sof Sima Kup Tzadi Ayin Sham. B'Advarim Tzrichim Beer. This requires some analysis. The Zeu Vade B'Kos Kiddush V'Avdolah Kosher Birchas HaMazon. It's customary by the cup of Kiddush, cup of Avdolah, and of benching. Kulam Ta'amim Yakos. Everybody tastes the cup below bracha without making a bracha. She Yotzi Birchas HaMazon because the Yotzi the bracha. The person made the bracha for everybody. Even if everybody has their own cup in front of them, Yotzi Birchas HaMazon. The Yotzi the bracha. The person makes the bracha. Kedemuchak B'Psachim, as is clarified in Psachim Ayin Sham. And now Kenu, but rather the matter is like this. The vade bebracha shekol echem mesum mitzarech lotzes bo. A bracha in which everybody who's there has to be yotzei. Kol shel kiddush v'avdolah, such as cup of kiddush, cup of avdolah, kol shel berachas mazon, and even the cup of benching. Kol mesumim miskabnim lotzes, all those who were there have in mind to be yotzei. Man baruch mecham yotzei, a person makes a bracha has in mind to be motzei. Aval berachas nisuin, but the bracha of the nisuin, v'ainu sheva brachos or asher bara, either the bracha of sheva brachos after the meal, or the no, not sheva the meal. Sheva brachos under the chuppah, asher bara dein shum b'chiv v'amesubin. No, actually, he's talking about sheva brachos after the meal. Even though the chorah should be the kos is the kos of Birkas HaMazon, so I'm not sure. Oh, because there are two cups. That's why. Because the one cup for them, because for Agaf, and the other cup for the sheva brachos. And I guess if you don't mix them together, okay, something along those lines. Hashabara is what you make when you only have you don't have panim chadashos. One bracha, I guess, with Bari Agafet. There's no requirement on those who are there to drink from that second cup. Only if there are very few people present. Each person knows that their cup is going to reach him. Person make the bracha has a mind to be motzi them. But there are many people present. And they know that not everybody can get the cup. So there's no kavanah in such a case, neither from the person making the bracha, nor from the people listening to the bracha. That's why everyone has to make their own bracha. Let's say no saying less smuchim and slow. Our custom is that the Varach gives to people who are adjacent to him. They don't make the bracha. The king died to mitchila. That's that they have in mind to give it to the people nearby. Simon Kuf Tzadik. Yud Aleph. Vava b'yisha bracha rishayna ena passport yain. Shabracha rishayna ena passport yain. Mush kasavnu. Even though for the bracha rishayna the bracha on bread does not exempt wine. Nonetheless, in bracha achrona, as we have seen before, the third bracha achrona, bracha hamazon potra, bracha hamazon exempts the wine. Time be'erev sif aleph. We explained this earlier. I feel like yain shif hamazon answer bracha achrona, and even the wine which you drank before the meal doesn't require bracha achrona. The bracha hamazon potro, because the hamazon exempts it too. To who gamkein nechshel b'me'asud. It's also considered part of the meal. Because it comes as an appetizer to open the intestines, to draw the desire for eating. I feel even it didn't drink it all within the suda. It's still yotzi with benching. Also the wine which comes at the end. I think the wine before the meal is called an aperitif, and that's kind of comes for the te'avon. Wine also because the Muslim exempts the wine after the suda. The yain soy gamkein wine also satisfies. But it's like bread in this respect. According to this answer, according to this, you don't need the previous reason, because the reason which we gave before, I think it's about the reason we gave in Sif Aleph. The reason we gave in Sif Aleph was that because Birkas Hamazon is the Raisa, and besides the Chashibas is for wine is for bracha rishona, and not for the bracha achrona. In other words, the special significance gave to wine is for before the wine, not after the wine. So according to the reason he gave now, that yain is soid, and therefore because of other covers, we don't need that reason of Sif Aleph. He said, but we don't rely in this on this reason in and of itself, that yain is soid. I came to say but since he's drinking the wine before benching, having times that with tziruf, we add on this reason that yain is also soid. The Quran is Baruch says ain't din shel achar hamazon. No, 1 second. No, I'm saying that was wrong shot. Sorry. It says he's going what it says. Gam yain la'achar suda gam ke Birkas Hamazon potroso the yain soy ganki babi lechem. That reason which he gave about the yain achra mozon, that it's soyed and therefore it's like bread, that reason should suffice, and we shouldn't need the reason before, which was just a second. No, I was right. The reason he gave is if for your being yotze with your birkas hamazon on the wine you drank after the meal is because birkas hamazon includes the bracha mein shalosh and transcends it. Here it says, well, there's another reason because it's soid, just like bread is. But then that he says we don't rely on this reason in and of itself, but since he is drinking it before benching, so therefore we can use this as an additional reason why he doesn't have to make a bracha achrona. But his brother said, "Ain't the additional achromazon." But we know already for us, since we drink wine for dessert, so dessert is part of the meal, so therefore we don't have the halacha of wine after the meal. Even though birkas hamazon exempts wine which is before the meal, nevertheless, in terms of Havdalah, if the benching exempts the wine of Havdalah, when you eat immediately after Havdalah, yesh machlekes. It's a machlekes because on the one hand, it's wine which is this juxtaposed to the Suda. On the other hand, Havdalah has no intrinsic juxtaposition to the Suda, as we said. He's bar b'simrei tzadikas. It's going to explain much later on. The shani Havdalah, sheinu shaychus to the cloud. And that, it's a because Havdalah is because there's no direct connection to the Suda. But on a weekday when he takes before the meal a wine or another beverage coming it's an aperitif, as I said. It comes to open the stomach, kamosha kasavnu, like we wrote. I just looked it up to be sure. That is what aperitif is. The dictionary definition of aperitif is an alcoholic drink taken before the meal to stimulate the appetite. There you go. And not only that, there's another word, which is digestif. Digestif is, because the quote, an aperitif is meant to entice the palate and whet the appetite, while the digestives help settle the stomach and facilitate digestion after a filling meal. So they're both alcoholic drinks served before or after a meal. So yain lifnei is called an aperitif, and the wine yain achra is called a digestif. And I learned a new word tonight, which is always exciting. Okay, now there's a lot of Mishnah Berurah on this sif. The Biur Halacha writes that this halacha of even that wine that birkas hamazon exempts wine is not clear, and there's Rishonim hold in fact you need a separate bracha achrona. Therefore, it's appropriate in terms of kiddush to only drink malo lugmav, so not chayav in a bracha achrona. And if you drank the entire cup, you should have wine by birkas hamazon specifically, explicitly, to exempt the wine you drank beforehand, and with this year it's b'diavad. According to what the poskim say, that by beverages they are requirements that are mechayev to make a bracha achrona, even by kazayis, and certainly by a rov revius. So therefore, if you have more lugmav, it's already a kazayis and even a rov revius, and therefore you should always have in mind because a Moshe should pater the wine of kiddush, which begs the question, because if you always have that in mind, that becomes stam das. So I assume that he means that people should be aware, and then it becomes stam das at some point, maybe after 3 times. Mishnah Berurah says that in any event, it only works for the wine which you drink juxtaposed to the meal, because then it's considered to be the aperitif, so that's the schalta de seuda. Mishnah Berurah writes that there is a machlokes as to the digestif, if the birkas hamazon exempts it. Some say yikavana for birkas hamazon to exempt it, and it works b'di'evet, and some say it's poiter even chatchila. Obviously, the Arukh HaShulchan said it should be pater, and Bisman said it's not relevant anyway. Mishnah Berurah also writes that if you didn't make a bracha before the meal, where this is about by Havdalah. If you didn't make a bracha achrona before the meal on the wine, then you should not make a bracha achrona later in the middle of the meal. But example is Birkas Hamazon, and you should have in mind explicitly that Birkas Hamazon should exempt the wine of Havdalah. You base Komash is by everything explained to who behind, that's by wine. But mashkin by water or any other beverage, which you drink within the meal. Ain't so the varach aleim brach livnim. You don't require bracha before you drink. Zakol mach masul, because all of this is because of the meal. People don't eat without drinking. Everybody knows it's the custom to drink water or shari mashkin or the beverages tochasuda within the meal. Real hamotzi patrosin and bracha of hamotzi exempts them. Even they make a bracha on these beverages before the meal. Wine also shouldn't require bracha in the meal. So, but because of its significance, it's bracha required a bracha. Receive olive. V'lo came b'shar mashkin is not true, but other beverages, v'kulim shayachim l'suda, they all connect to the meal. For instance, I saw somebody wrote the yain saraf, whiskey, ain't no bottle over the tavas samachol, doesn't come to arouse the appetite. But so and you have to make a bracha even during the meal. But any of their perishes there, the Chashon says, I don't know any of this meaning of this. This is denying our senses. So everybody knows it's only to arouse the desire to eat. And fortify the heart to drink. And so the Baruch Hu, therefore you don't have to make a bracha on it. It's not to make any bracha on scotch within the meal. Too, it's obvious and one should not deviate. Bilach writes, if you're only eating a little bit of bread in order that the strong beverages he drinks afterwards should not damage him because he's drinking an empty stomach, then in that case the strong drink is ikr, the pas is tafel, and he really should be able to partner the bread with the bracha on the hard drinks. But since he's eating the bread first, he should make on the bread shahako, which was mostly both the bread and the whiskey or scotch or whatever he's having afterwards. It's a nice chiddush. That in this case would be a rare case in which it's a good riddle question. Where would you make shahako on bread, even though the bracha on bread is supposed to be a motzi? The answer is when you're eating before alcoholic beverages, and in order to make the alcoholic beverages go down better, then you make a shahako on that bread. You give him Babi Chain, nevertheless, Babi Shekain is Kimu Ro Rabbo Seinu, even though most of our Rabbeim, most of our rabbis have agreed. Because, I'm not sorry, I write the first other time. Bishkain is Kimu Ro Seinu, even though most of our rabbis agreed to this, because Rashi, but Bracha Shekain, you know, Gim Rashi, Rabbeinu Tam, the Chogdol, Tzorfas, and all the greats of France, Lishtos Besul below bracha, to drink during the meal without bracha. Mikom kom nevertheless yeshu in levarech alamayim shebesuda. Shocking. So you should make a bracha on water. The rock behind came, which is like wine, since it satisfies him. Chazal say dilei chashivu solo and mitzarech bracha. Now, its significance, it would not require bracha. Avamayim elishum shayach lesuda. Wine you're drinking for thirst, not to complement the meal. Drink because you're thirsty. Ve'etzarech levarech therefore make a bracha on it. Which are actually for your thirst. So you make a bracha every time they drink water during the meal. Must be each time it's a new drinking because you got thirsty again. By other beverages, this is not really relevant, he says. The rak mayim botam nimachu. Water this has no taste. You're not drinking for the taste, so therefore must be you're thirsty and you're drinking it because you have a fresh thirst. Aval sheikh or made vash, but whiskey or mead, love a nimach, you're not changing your mind. For also, let's say they'll say Lustalgim or Suffolk, everybody wants to not get involved in Suffolk. Yeshev Kodim Tils Yadayim, Makom Suda, he should sit before he washes in the place he's going to eat his meal. V'yavarech al mayim or yain saraf should make a bracha on water or on hard beverages. Shahako and have in mind that it should take effect on that which he eats during the meal. Interesting. Therefore, some people have a little l'chaim before they wash their hands. This is just, to be super cautious. Basically, the primary love is the answer to Baruch Al-Mayim, Shar Mashko Shahako. You don't have to make a bracha on any other beverage you drink during the meal. Below now this Elafilu Ayot Samei Kodim Achiloso. Even if it's thirsty before he ate. The Shoiseh Besocha Suda he drinks during the meal. Lichora is a Shaykh Suda. It seems not relevant to Suda because it's thirsty from before. Came Shatzami Mikoidem. Become nevertheless they serve the Baruch. You don't make a bracha by time the Lama Lo Shasa Kodim Masuda. So why do you drink before the meal? No, I'm sorry, that's not what I'm reading. But time, the reason is the Lama Lo Shasa Kodim Masuda. Why do you drink when it's thirsty before the meal? We told the Suda Lo Yiznan. So it must be for some reason he was afraid he drank the water before the meal would be damaging for him. And therefore he drank it during the meal when he was sure it wasn't be damaging. So therefore it reverts to Tzorach Suda. He doesn't require bracha. The brackets here, it says, Ayin Tas, you couldn't use because Gankin should sorry bracha al Yain Soraf. That you have to make a bracha on any alcoholic beverage on the table during the meal. Teres Kane, because of Shem, are going to 5-ish. Yain Soraf al Shulchan. No, that's only if it's not on the table at the time. It's on the table at the beginning of your meal. Let's answer the barak. Much because of Behetus, you couldn't ches. They had in mind that the hard beverages are not relevant to eating. But as Arukh HaShulchan said before, times have changed. If you're made in our days, we don't have any other understanding of the drinking. That's we drink today scotch and such only when we're eating. To draw up an appetite. They don't make a bracha. Make a pashuk, and that is the widespread binuk. The Bir Halacha says that that which the Arukh HaShulchan suggested to make the bracha on water before the meal, that's only if he is getting hanoah from that water when he's drinking it before the meal. But if he doesn't have hanoah from it, then you can't make a bracha on it. Because if you're only drinking water for the purpose of making a bracha, that doesn't work. The Bir Halacha says that if you have wine, then it's best to use the wine. Again, according to this idea that there's a suffix during the Suda, what you should do, have the wine, use the wine in order to be mostly whatever the beverages. That's the best way to do it.